Hey guys, I hope you're doing really well, especially during lockdown. And for those of you in self-isolation, I hope you're keeping up all right. I'm Sophie and I'm here to show you what you can make with your isolation box. So obviously you can make the standard chili con carne, curries, anything like that. However, I'm going to show you a quick recipe with your custard creams, cornflakes and milk. So I'm going to show you two different recipes. The first one being cornflake cakes and then the second one being a fudge, which is really simple to make. So basically, you need to cut up your custard creams kind of so you've got just the middle bit. You can have some of the biscuit as well because that adds a bit of flavour. But basically, you tip them into the pan and then with a little splash of your milk. You don't need too much milk. And we just turn it on and get that heating up. Obviously, you don't have to use all your custard creams for this, but I've chosen to use quite a few because obviously I'm doing two separate recipes. So even though you've got the biscuits in here as well, they start to melt down really, really nice and you get kind of a caramelly flavour with it. So it's starting to melt down. If it's starting to look a little bit dry, just add a bit more of the milk. You honestly don't need too much of the milk for this recipe. And obviously it's a really nice little sweet treat to kind of keep you going, especially during lockdown, because you don't have many of in those isolation packs, there's not many sweet treats in there really. So we're getting there. It kind of looks like caramel, like I said, once it's all melted. Nearly there. So obviously you've got to keep stirring it, making sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. So it might not taste too great. Okay. Just a few little bits there, refusing to melt. Okay, so once it's melted, it will look very much like this. And then from this, we're going to add it into our cornflakes. And again, you don't have to use all your cornflakes. You can make as many or as little as you want. Okay. And then just mix them all together. And then we'll put them into the cupcake cases, ready to go into the fridge. So once they're all done, also I've got a little bit left over, but that doesn't matter. Put them in the fridge to set. Okay, so the second recipe I'm going to show you is the fudge. So similarly, you've got the insides and a bit of the biscuit. Put that into the pan. And again, a little bit of the milk to start with. This recipe, you do need more of the milk. So we're going to heat that up again. So this one you need to make sure is heated a lot more than the other one because it needs to go to a nice thick texture. So just for a few ingredients, these recipes are actually super nice. I tested them earlier on my family and they absolutely loved them. My sister couldn't stop eating all the cornflake cakes, so I know they're nice. Okay, so once we get to a texture that's kind of nice and thin and loose, we're going to start adding a little bit more of the milk. You don't want to add too much, but you want to add enough so that it kind of becomes loose, and then you're going to cook it out and bring it to the boil, and this way it's going to become nice and thick. So you want it to kind of become a kind of gloopy texture, and it will probably look a little bit like gluey, but it's actually, once it's set, really delicious, and it's kind of like a bouncy jelly. Okay, so as we can see, it's starting to go into kind of a gloopier texture. And that's definitely what you want. So you want it to come away from the sides, a little bit like choux pastry if you've ever made that. So you can see there, it's kind of gloopy. Okay, so once it's like that, transfer it into a dish and just spread it out. And then this is where I kind of used the leftover biscuits. So I've crushed up the custard cream toppings and sprinkled it all over the top. And then put it in the fridge again to set. So once it's set, you can take it out of the fridge and cut it up into nice little bite-sized pieces. So obviously these are some I made earlier. But yeah, enjoy!